Hello and welcome to this introductory briefing webinar focusing on the UK Advanced Certificate in Anti-Money Laundering from the International Compliance Association. My name is Becca Dare. I am a Director of International Compliance Training. So in terms of today, what we're going to do is talk you through the course content, so the syllabus, and also sort of have a look at the journey you will take through the qualification in terms of the workshops, the assessment as a whole in terms of the assignments and the exam, and just the general approach you should take to the study. Okay, so the Advanced Certificate in Anti-Money Laundering is delivered typically with 2 days of face-to-face workshops where available. If not, it will be delivered on a distance learning basis with a course workbook and a series of webinars. The course involves the submission of one written assignment, and we'll look at that shortly. And there is a 1.5 hour written exam with 15 minutes reading time. The exam is open book at the end of the program, and we'll be exploring that shortly. The course will take 6 months approximately to complete. So let's look at the actual course content that will be covered typically in the workshops or during your studies. The course is broken down into 10 modules, and the first module is looking at the bigger picture. So what is the concept of anti-money laundering actually mean? What's the latest thinking on how organised crime and corrupt politicians actually hide and conceal their assets? And what has the international response to that been? So who are the key organisations internationally that help us fight money laundering and help set the standards for law and practice? More importantly, actually, we'll look at how we can use the tools and information produced by these organisations in our own jobs and organisations. Then in Module 2, we'll look at the actual law and regulation and practice. So what does the law actually say in the UK around anti-money laundering and what we're expected to do about it? And crucially, what does that mean in practice? Then we'll look at more detail about AML and practice, and particularly the risk-based approach. So how do we undertake risk assessments? How do we ensure that our controls are matched and proportionate to the risks in question? We'll explore the concept of financial sanctions. So financial sanctions, obviously a very challenging area. There are lists produced by a range of international organisations and jurisdictions identifying individuals, entities, and indeed whole jurisdictions with whom we should not deal. Ensuring that we have systems to comply with the relevant lists is a very challenging area, and the consequences of getting this wrong are potentially catastrophic. So we'll explore the practical issues as well as the theories behind this in Module 4. Module 5 is a really key part of this program. This program is designed to give you a really good insight into the practical issues around customer due diligence. So what are the best practices around onboarding a new client, be it an individual customer, be it a high-risk client who you maybe need to obtain and verify information about the source of their wealth? If it's a corporate customer and you need to identify the ultimate beneficial ownership. Indeed, if it's a complex structure, how do you unwrap the complex ownership structure? We'll talk about this through a mixture of practical case studies and tools which are designed to help you and your organisation think more critically about these issues. Module 6 is all about the risks of terrorist financing and money laundering and practice and how to mitigate those risks. So looking at case studies and typologies as well as the controls. So what is the latest techniques in terms of the movement and placement, layering and integration of criminal property? We then go on to look at automated tools in terms of transaction monitoring to detect suspicious activity and filtering tools to explore and identify politically exposed people and sanctions related issues. Module 8, very interesting part of the syllabus, looking at suspicious activity. How do we flag the red flags in terms of suspicious activity? in terms of account activity, customers, transactions, and how do we evaluate potential hits? How do we engage with law enforcement when we submit a suspicious activity report to, say, the Serious Organised Crime Agency? And what happens after we make that report? There are a range of issues. What do we tell the customer? Do we continue to do business with the customer? And how do we deal with law enforcement in general? Module 9 explores emerging industry sectors such as new payment methods, electronic wallets, new payment systems, mobile money, all of these new technologies and their application and risks involved. And finally, Module 10 explores the concept of internal escalation of high-risk issues and exiting relationships which are deemed to be unacceptably high risk. So the workshops themselves are really engaging and delivered by experienced practitioners in a very interactive fashion. They're a mixture of practical group exercises, case studies, and discussions. They're run in small groups, so they're highly interactive. And look, they're a great opportunity to develop your peer network and benchmark and meet people from other sectors and the public and private sector, including law enforcement and regulators. The assignment is, you'll have a 12-month period, and the assignment is between 2,000 and 2,500 words. There is a huge amount of support available in helping you draft, research, and reference your assignment. We're conscious that many people may not have studied at this level for a long period, and we give you a range of tools to support you in this regard. This includes the provision of a mentor, if you wish, to help support you in your studies, to enable you to have someone to act as a sounding board, a person who may be an experienced industry practitioner. So we also provide you advice in terms of ensuring your study and question, your answer to your questions is structured in a logical way. This includes brainstorming and providing an answer framework. Again, we'll give you lots of support and advice on this process during the course. This gives you an idea of the depth and the tone of the assignments. This is taken from a recent paper that's being delivered in May this year. And you can see the question talks about the primary offences of money laundering under the Proceeds of Crime Act. And it asks you to explain and illustrate what criminal acts constitute the offences of money laundering and express what is meant by the terms knowledge or suspicion of money laundering in the context of a regulated firm's obligations to report. And finally, you're asked to explain and illustrate the circumstances in which the offence of tipping off can be committed and establish whether there are any circumstances where it is permissible to disclose information related to a client after a suspicious activity report has been made. Okay. The exam itself is 1 hour 45 minutes, of which 15 minutes is reading time, and you must answer 2 out of 5 questions. The exam is open book in nature, so you're allowed to bring any written material into the examination at all. That includes your own notes and answer frameworks as well as the course materials. This will give you an example of the type of assignment question that you're likely to encounter. Explain the meaning and key components of customer due diligence, simplified due diligence, and enhanced due diligence. And B, explain the importance of corroborating source of wealth information as part of the CDD process. The question also says what steps can be taken to conduct this process to ensure that the wealth has not originated from from criminal activity. Another example provides a more case study style question, which puts you as being in the shoes of a newly appointed member of an AML team in a regulated firm where a businessman has approached the firm and wants to establish a business relationship. You are dealing with Tom, who works in the new accounts section, and Tom is going through the initial due diligence procedures, and he doesn't want to lose the business, even though the customer is becoming aggressive and providing scant or insubstantial information. Tom asks you to provide the information at a later stage. And the question is, indicate to Tom the risks and issues involved in this situation. And again, we'll be thinking widely in terms of those risks and issues as we go through the course. Regulatory, legal, commercial risks, reputational risks as we go through the program, and suggest what action should be taken to address the risks and issues you have outlined. And again, the course is very focused on the practical solutions to problems around customer due diligence. Again, lots of advice in the program about how to go about studying and preparing for the examination, including what to take into the final exam and how to structure your answers. Again, there will be lots of reading and further research material provided to you during the program, including primary legislation, industry journals, research, industry guidance, and as well as giving you the facility to use information from your own organisations. The assessment is 50% on the assignment and 50% on the open book examination. The overall pass mark for the course is 50%, and the qualification can be awarded with a pass, merit, or distinction grade. Right, thank you for your attention. If you have any further questions on the ICA programs, please feel free to contact the ICA. The web address is at the bottom there, which has all the contact details. And you can also see my personal Twitter account and email there as well. And I look forward to seeing you at the future on ICA programs. Thank you.